So we are starting TestNG today, and the topics which we are going to cover in this are listed here. So whatever topics are mentioned on this, we'll be covering all of them. Okay, like we'll be starting with introduction to TestNG and its comparison with JUnit. Okay, before that, we'll also discuss about what is TestNG and what is JUnit and why we are comparing these two tools. Then next topic will be installing TestNG in Eclipse, because as we are using the IDE as Eclipse, so we'll be installing TestNG in Eclipse and we'll start working on it. Then we'll be discussing different annotations and attributes in TestNG. Then there is a topic called assigning priority to test case, so we'll learn that. Then skipping a test case in TestNG, how and when a test case is skipped. Okay, actually this topic is not skipping a test case, but it's enabling and disabling a test case. So that is what will learn. Then next topic and the most important one is assertions in TestNG. Assertions are used to give a verdict whether a test case is pass or fail. And along with this assertion, we'll also cover one more topic, that is uh, validations and verification in Selenium. So that is something which I'll also cover along with this assertions in TestNG. Okay, then next topic will be advanced level topics, and the first topic in it is introduction to TestNG.xml file. Okay, so this topic will help us in executing code without even touching the code. These will be some external XML files where you can add, remove few things. Based on that, your test suite will change. So for example, if you want only sanity scenarios to be executed, then you don't have to go and change this priority or status of your sanity scenarios. You just have to uh, go to your testng.xml file, change one simple thing, and you're good to go. Then executing all test cases of packages. So all other things are like subtopic of these, like executing all the packages, executing multiple classes, grouping test cases together, how to make test cases parameterized in a testng.xml. Then data provider is used for testing a scenario with multiple test data. Then parallel execution on multiple browsers. This will be used for parallelly testing scenarios on multiple browsers together. Okay, so this is a long list of topics we are going to cover, and all these topics we'll try to cover today and tomorrow, and if something which will be left, that will take up next week. Most probably I'll be able to complete all, but let's see. Okay, so any questions till now? Okay, so the topic with which we'll start is introduction to TestNG. So let's discuss about what is TestNG and why we are studying it. So TestNG stands for Test Next Generation. It's a testing framework specially designed for unit testing. It's a tool inspired by JUnit. It can be used by developers to write unit tests or by testers to write automation test cases. So this is a small definition. TestNG stands for Text Next Generation. It is a testing framework which is used for writing test cases and is being used by developers for unit testing, and we testers use it for functional tests. Okay. Now there is another tool, another similar kind of testing framework which is famous in market, that is JUnit, and there are certain limitations with JUnit, because of which we don't use them for functional tests, but for unit tests, JUnit is still in priority, or you can say is more famous because people are using it for long now. Okay, so for unit test, it has all the features which is required, but for functional test, there are few features which are not available. So we use them. So we use TestNG for that. Okay, so as compared to JUnit, TestNG has a wide range of easy to remember annotations, uh, a wide range of assertions, sequencing is possible in TestNG but is not there in JUnit. So in JUnit you cannot set the order of your test cases, whereas you can do the same in TestNG. Parallel testing is not possible. Grouping of test cases is not possible. Parameterization is not possible. Report generation is better in TestNG, and there is dependency testing which is not there. So if I do a tabular comparison, these are the list on which you can compare. So annotation support is there in both but is better in TestNG. There are many annotations which are available only in TestNG but not there in JUnit. So next is execution testing, exception testing, that is there in both. Ignoring of test cases there in both. Timeout tests are there in both. Test suite, we can create test suites in both. Grouping is something which is not there in JUnit but is there in TestNG. Parameterization and dependency testing, these are three topics which are there in TestNG but are not available in JUnit. Okay. Now JUnit comes by default in Eclipse, whereas TestNG we have to install. So I'll give you the steps how you can install TestNG on your system, on your Eclipse. Then in a TestNG class there is no need to have a main method. It can be directly executed. It provides us with detailed report in various formats like HTML, XML, and okay. So these are few of the comparison between TestNG and JUnit, and we'll be starting with TestNG because it has many features which we require for functional tests and are not there in JUnit. But if you know TestNG, you're good to start. You're good to go with JUnit as well. Okay, and vice versa is also true. There are just few concepts which are different, so that is what I'll be covering. Okay. So any questions till now? Okay, so let's start with the first topic, that is installing TestNG in the Eclipse. Very easy steps. Go to your Eclipse. I'll just close all these. Okay, why nothing is shown in Package Explorer? Just give me a minute. Okay, so I'll create a new folder in it. Okay, and I'll name it day15.testng. I'll create a class. Okay, first of all, let's install TestNG on your system. Okay, so to install TestNG on your Eclipse, go to this help. Okay, and then there will be an option of install new software. Click on that. Then this pop-up will appear. This window will appear. Here there is an option of add. Click on add, and then in the name give TestNG, and then here you have to give bust.com /eclipse. I'll just ping this in the chat and you can save it. Okay, this is one-time activity you have to do, and don't worry if you miss it. The same thing is written in the article here. What is the URL and all that is written here, so you can just copy paste from here, beust.com/eclipse. Okay, just click on OK. It will search for the latest version of TestNG. Then select that, click on next, accept the license and install it. Click on finish. These all are the steps you have to perform to get the TestNG. Okay, so sometime it takes time, but you will get it. Okay, latest version of TestNG will appear here. Just select that, click on next multiple time, accept the license and click on finish. So it will install TestNG, will take some time. Once TestNG is installed, you have to restart your Eclipse. It will already give, it automatically gives you an option of uh, restarting your Eclipse, and that's done. So here you can see TestNG has appeared. If I expand it, it will also show what all are it's going to install. So these are the latest version of TestNG available. So here there is a checkbox. If you don't want the latest one, just uncheck this. It will give you all the versions which are available till now. But we know we need the latest one. So I'll just click on latest one, and then it will give you these three options. You can just select all the three and install. If you don't want this Maven integration and P2 features, just uncheck them, keep the first one and install it. Okay, otherwise just select the complete one, click on finish, click on next, and then it will ask you for license and all, and done. Okay, so I'll just cancel it because for me this is already installed. TestNG is already installed on my system. Okay, so I'll just say cancel because I don't need, my TestNG is already installed. Now once TestNG is installed properly, then and after restarting the Eclipse, then right click on your package name, go to new, there will be an options of others, go to others and search for TestNG class. Just type TestNG here, it will start appearing. Just select that class, click on next. Okay, give it a name. Say for example, for now I'm saying test case class 1. Okay, so we are just starting with it, so I'll just give any name, then click on finish. Okay, when you create it for the first time, you will see that, okay, what is this? I guess, let me remove this package. Okay, so if you look at here, uh, just give me another minute, right click, refactor, rename. Something weird is happening.
It is creating a package by itself, right?
Yeah, I don't know why it was behaving like that, but now it's fine. So it was creating another package inside it, not sure why. Okay, so here you can see that a class is created, but there are some errors which are coming. Okay, so if you have older version of Eclipse, then you might not get these errors because TestNG automatically gets included in all the packages in older version of Eclipse. But if you have the latest versions like new and above, then this will be an issue. Issue will be that it will not automatically get installed, but you will start getting these errors. Okay, so when you get this error, just hover over this add test. Okay, I'll explain you what is this add test, but this is one time step which you have to do when you are setting up your project. Just hover over this add test and click on add TestNG libraries. As soon as you click on it, you will see that all the errors will be gone, and here in the packages you will see another package is included, and the name of the package is TestNG. Okay, in TestNG there are multiple jar files which are coming, so we'll discuss about them, but this is how you will include TestNG in your project, and this is just one time activity. You don't have to do it again. uh, Only in new project you will do the same thing. Okay, so here you can see I have created one at test. So something is there with this name at test. So what is that? We'll discuss now. Okay, so for now I'll just remove it, and I can remove this line as well, and we'll discuss about it in start. So this ensures that TestNG is installed and is working properly. Now, well, after that you don't have to create a TestNG class. You just create a normal class and everything will work. Okay. So let's start with the next topic, and the next topic is writing our first test case. Okay, so and we'll also discuss what is this annotations. Okay, so let's discuss what is an annotation. Annotations are the keywords written before a method to provide a special meaning. Say for example, attest is an annotation. The method written just after it is considered as a test case. Okay, so annotation is something which is written with an at symbol and a keyword will be there. Whatever this at test or at something is there, what is it? It's an annotation which makes your method written just after it a special method. Like here, when I'm writing at test, and if I say control space bar, it gives you options, multiple options. Okay, it got not responding mode. Just give me a minute. So here you can see org.testng.annotations is there, org.junit is there. You have to take the one. This is org.testng.annotations. Okay, so it will import the corresponding class here, and now whatever method you'll write just after it will be considered as a test case. So I'll write public void, let's say I'm writing test case 1, and here it will be system.out.println. So for example, currently I'm just giving the statement test case 1 executed. So first we'll learn TestNG and then we'll integrate Selenium with it. Okay, so we'll go step by step. First let's learn the basics of TestNG, and then we'll move on to the next one, that is integrating Selenium with it. So here you can see I'm just creating some random test cases. You can have as many test cases you want in a class. Say for example, here I'm giving the name as 3, and here I'm giving, so I've just given the random order. The reason I'll just discuss in some time. So here I just created 4 test cases, test case 1, 4, 3, 2, given some random order. So let's see how they are executed. So to execute any test case, just go to that class name, right click, and then run as. Earlier it was Java application, but now they will be TestNG test. Okay, and when I click on TestNG test, you will see all the test cases are executed. Okay, here in the console you can see all the test cases are executed. Test case 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, just observe one thing, that when I'm running, when I'm creating these test cases, test case 1, 4, 3, 2, the order is different. Whereas when they are executed, you can see the order is different. Okay, so what is the order in which test cases will be executed? It's very simple. It's alphabetic order. Okay, so alphabetically 1, 2, 3 is this is the correct order, right? That's why they are executed in this order. So remember this. If somebody asks you what is the default uh, execution, what is the what is the default priority of execution of test cases in TestNG or JUnit, in both it's alphabetic order. It's just that in JUnit we cannot control the priority, whereas in TestNG we can control the priority by passing one of the attribute, which we'll see in some time. Okay, few more things to observe here. If you see, there are many things which are printed. Like first, it executed the test cases, then it has printed the direct status of test cases, like test case 1, 2, 3, 4, all four are passed. Then it has given us a report in numbers that there were four tests runs, and none of them is failure, none of them is skipped. That means all of them are passed. Okay, and it has given us a report with test. It has given us a report with suit. So currently for you it's like same, but within some time we'll discuss what is this suit, what is this test, and then we'll see that these things are changing as well. Okay, now there is one more report which comes, and that report is just next to the console. If you go here, it has some colorful report where it shows which all uh, test cases are executed. So here you can see that there is default suit. So this is the top hierarchy. In that there are tests. So the name is default test, and then it has mentioned which class and all the test cases of that class. So this will always be the hierarchy. If let's say in a single test there are multiple classes, so multiple class will come one by one. Similarly, if in a suit there are multiple tests, then multiple tests will come here, and inside each test there will be one class, and in each class there will be test cases. There cannot be multiple test suit in one run, but in a test suite there can be multiple tests. In a test there can be multiple classes or packages. Okay, so currently all the test cases are passed. That's why all of them are green with a tick, and here also the bar is green. Once a test case will fail, it will change its color to red. Okay, if something will skipped, then the color will be yellow. So here you can see passed are 4, failed are 0, and skipped are 0. Okay, and here there is no failure exception. If something will fail, that will appear here. So this is one format of report. So I've shown you two reports. One is in console, second is in this default view which comes in Eclipse and is created by TestNG. Let's see one more format. For that, you just have to refresh your project once. So right click, refresh. Okay, then this test output folder will appear. Just open that, and in this there will be an option of emailable report. So just right click on this emailable report and open with web browser. Okay, when you open it with web browser, you will see that a detailed report is coming in tabular format. So here you can see first there are four passed test case, none of them is skipped, none of them is failed. Okay, so there is a test suite. There is a test suite. In that there are test cases, and then in that there is a class in which four test cases are there. All four are passed. That's why all of them are green. And next to it is shown how much time it has taken to execute these test cases. If something will fail, that will start appearing here. Okay, so this is a report which comes as an HTML report. So these are the three different formats of report. There is one more format which you can have, and that is XML. So here at the last, you can see there is an test XML report. So if I open that, okay. So if you open this XML report, you will see here also report is created with, you can see suit is there, then inside that test is there, then inside that classes are mentioned, then tests are mentioned, and every test case has you can say status is pass, here status is pass, and test case name is given, priority for it is given. So as we have not given any priority, default priority is always 0. Okay, and if it is 0, and if multiple test cases have same priority, then alphabetic order will be considered. And then it has also all the parameters that when it was started, what was total time it took to execute and all. So complete report is available in XML format. So if you don't like this format, you can just take this XML and write a utility to create your own test case. Okay, so that's about different things in TestNG. Any questions till now?
About the CSS file, like there are two: test report CSS and testing CSS.
Okay, test report CSS is actually CSS means cascade style sheet. It is a CSS file which is used by this HTML to give you presentation. So CSS is something which is not a report, it's just a file which is keeping all the stylings and everything for this emailable report.html. This report you see here, that what color should come when it is a pass, when should color should
Yeah,
come when it is a field.
just like for the website, yeah, for the coloring and
Yes.
formatting.
So
So
for
what about the Excel file? Is there a way to export it to Excel file?
no, there is no Excel file. There is one XML file, then there is one HTML file, and the report which you see here. That is that is on the console with what you see. So there is no CSV or XML form, Excel format. Okay. Okay, so there are many utilities available in market which you can simply download and use to get uh, other reports. Like if you want it, you want to convert this XML into an Excel sheet. So that is possible, but you just have to search for some utility available in market. Okay, yeah. So moving on to the next. So I hope this is clear that what is a annotation. An annotation is a keyword written with an at symbol. The method written just after it has some special meaning, has some special is a special method actually. And here, as you can see, this at test annotation is there. The method written just after it is considered as a test case. So this test case one is a test case now. Okay. So as discussed, there are many more annotations available. So we'll discuss about them with time. Let's discuss about some of the attributes. So what is an attribute? Attribute is something which you can pass along as an extra information in the annotations. Like here I'm writing, there is something known as priority. Okay, so priority equal to, you can get any integer number here, including negative numbers. Just remember one simple point, the more you are towards negative, higher is the priority. So if I'm saying a priority 0 and I'm saying priority 1, then test case 4 has less priority than test case 1. Okay, similarly, if I'm saying test case minus 3, then this test case 3 has the highest priority because it is more negative on the number line. Okay, so least the number, highest is the priority. Similarly, if I go here and if I put test case priority as v2, so now what should be the order? The order will be test case 3 will execute first, then test case 1 will execute, then test case 4 will execute, and then test case 2 will execute. You can see that. So here I'll come right click, run as TestNG test. Look at the priority now. Test case 3 is executed first, and if you see, test case 3 has the least priority, right? So test case 3 has the least priority because it is -3. So that means, sorry, least number but highest priority. Similarly, then we have 0. Then we have this test case uh, 2. Sorry, test case 4. And then we have test case 2. So this is the priority. Any questions in it? Okay. Just one more point to remember, or you can say you can follow in your real-time projects, and that is when you're assigning priorities, don't give numbers like 0, 1, -1, 2, 3, because if you're giving numbers in this format, then if a new test case is coming, let's say a test case 7 came and its priority is in between test case 1 and 4, but currently I cannot do anything. I have to change the complete priority and then only I can insert test case something in between test case 1 and 4, right? So what approach you can follow here is, instead of giving priority as 0, 1, 2, 3, assign priority as 0, 100, 200, or 0, 10, 20, 30, or 0, 100, 0, 1000, 2000, 3000. Why? Because if you have priorities with a long gap like 0, 100, 200, 300, 400, your whatever you want to achieve is still achievable. Like 100 is less than 200, so 100 will execute first. Similarly, -100 is less than 100, so still -100 will execute uh, first. But if you have to insert something in between, like in between 0 and 100 you want to insert something, you can assign a simply a value 50 or any number in between 1 and 100. Okay, this way, if in near future some test case is coming which has a priority in between two numbers, then you can simply assign a value between those two numbers. Okay, so this is one practical trick I'm saying I just explained. So just remember it and follow it. Any questions till now? Okay. So if you don't have any question, then I'll discuss one more attribute, and that attribute is, what if you want to uh, what if you want to disable a test case? You don't want, let's say there are these 5 test cases, and I don't want to run this test case 7. This is something, either it is failing every time or it is passing every time, so I just don't want to execute it. Uh, I know it that this test case will always fail because there is a defect. I don't want to waste my time by executing it. So what you can do in that case? So very simple. There is an attribute known as enabled, and it takes values as true and false. So just give, okay, why it's coming like this? Okay, enabled equal to false. This is how you have to give. So enabled equal to false means that test case will not execute. If you keep it enabled equal to true, that test case will become true. And by default value is true. As you can see in other test cases, I have not given this attribute, still they are executing. That means the default value is true. Okay, so remember this, if you want to disable a test case, simply pass an attribute enabled equal to false and that test case will become disabled. Okay, so if I execute this class now, right click, run as TestNG test, you will see that test case 7 is not executed. Okay, so any questions? Okay, moving on to the next topic. Next topic is some of the other annotations which we have. So let's start with those annotations one by one. So there are many add before and at after annotations. Okay, so I'll discuss about them one by one. Let's talk about the first one, and that is add before method. Okay, so what does this annotation says? The method written just after it will be something which will be executed before and after every test method. Okay, so whatever you see, test case 1, test case 4, these are test methods which we have written. So here let's say I'm saying public void before a method. So I'll simply say system.out.println uh, before every test method. And similarly, I have one, and here let's say I'm saying public void after a method. So if there is something which you want to execute before and after every method, you just have to put uh, these two methods, I mean these two annotations, and the method written after them will be executed the way you want. Okay, when they can be used, a simple example can be, let's say you want to execute something and before that every time you want to just read some configuration file, or just consider an example you are writing in such a way that before every method you log into your application, after the complete scenario is executed you log out of the application. Or let's say you want to click on some button before executing any test method, or reset the counter, anything, reset your test data, something which you want to do before every test case, you can do by this. So after every test method. Okay, so if I execute this code now, you will see, right click, run as TestNG test. So here you can see before a test case, before every test case this is executed, then test case is executed, then after every test case it is executed. Okay, so so any questions here? Okay, looking at the next annotation we have is before class and after class. So here again you have to take one from TestNG.annotations. So it will be public void uh, before a class. So this will be first method executed in the class, and then will be one after class. It will be after a class last method to be executed in the class. Okay, so this will be the first method to be executed in the class, and this will be the last method to be executed in the class. Okay, so probably just to make it little better, I'll put this single slash t. What does this slash t means? Slash t means putting tab. Okay, so I'll just put these tab spaces. So when I execute this, right click, run as TestNG test. So here you can see first method to be executed before a method, and then test case is executed after every test case, then and so on, and in the last method to be executed. Okay, generally what kind of methods come when we talk about Selenium? So invoking browser and closing browser you can put inside these methods. Like first, when for the first time we always have to invoke a browser, then invoke a browser and navigate to a particular URL that will come in under this before class, then do whatever you want to do, all your test cases, and then at the end, if you just want to close your browser, keep that into after class. Okay, so these are some more annotations. Any questions now? So in total, we have discussed 5 annotations, which are before class, after class, before method, after method, and then we have test. So 5 annotations we have discussed. Just remember these because the hierarchy is important in interviews. Interviewer will ask you the hierarchy. So here you can see annotations and TestNG. We have at test, before method, after method. Then we discuss about this before class and after class. We also have before group and after group, before test and after test, before suit and after suit, which we'll discuss later on because it's not the correct time. We are not familiar with what is this before class and after, what is this group, what is this test, and what is this suit. Once we'll discuss about group, test, and suit, then we'll discuss about these annotations as well. Okay, but if in short I want to tell you the hierarchy, just remember that suit is the top one. Okay, is the first one. Inside that we have test. Inside test we have classes, and in classes there are multiple groups assigned. Okay, and then we have before method and after method, and then we have test. If we talk about the order of execution, so this is the order: suit, test, class, group, and then before method, and then test case. So this will be the hierarchy. Okay, so remember this hierarchy because in interviews this hierarchy is asked a lot. Okay, I mean in TestNG or in JUnit they ask you this question a lot. Then There are few more annotations, like there is add data provider, we will cover, add parameters, we'll cover. Okay, factory and listeners are there. Then attributes. So if you see there here, one is this priority attribute. Priority is we have already seen. Then enabled or disabled is like enabling or disabling a test case. Always run. Always run is uh, I mean, in future you'll also will also see that a test case skips because of certain reasons. Okay, maybe it has a dependency on some other method or on some other group, and because of that, a test case is skipping. So if you don't want to skip your test case on any condition, then you can put this attribute always run equal to true. And if you have put this always run equal to true, that will execute your test case no matter whether a test case was expected to skipped or not. Okay, then we have data provider. So this data provider will be used along with this add data provider annotations. Then we have depends on method. So this is a type of dependency testing which we'll see tomorrow. Then we have exception tests, expected exceptions, and timeout. So these two things I'll discuss now. Say for example, you have a test case, maybe this, and here you are simply saying uh, timeout equal to say 10 seconds. So here if you see maximum time a test case will take to execute, unit of test is in milliseconds. So here whatever I'm giving is milliseconds. So I'll just put this. This means let's put this. So this means you're waiting for 10 seconds, right? Now, what does this timeout means? Timeout means that whatever time you're giving here, if your test case is executed within that time, then your test case is passed. Otherwise, your test case is failed. Okay, I'll show you. Deliberately, I'll fail this test case. So I just putting this in try catch, and here I'll just call thread dot sleep, and I'll put it as let's say 15 seconds. Okay, I have put thread.sleep as 15 seconds. That means this test case will take more than 15 seconds to execute, whereas the timeout we have given is 10 seconds. So if within 10 seconds this test case will execute, then it's fine. Otherwise, it will fail this test case. Let's see how. One more thing, if you see here, I have selected this test case 3, and now I'm doing right click run as TestNG set test. So you will observe that only let it get execute. So it's waiting for 15 seconds, but within 10 seconds it throws an exception. So here you can see it is saying sleep interrupted. This is some exception which is coming. Okay, but actually your test case has failed. Okay, invoke with timeout with new executor. So it is an exception related to timeout. So why the test cases failed? The reason test cases failed because it was expected to execute in 10 seconds, but it is taking more than 10 seconds. So it has failed at timeout. So we can this is what we can test here. Okay, so sometimes you want to see whether within this time your test case is getting executed or not. This could be one scenario. So you can do this by putting a timeout attribute. Okay, one more thing. I just told you that I'm executing only test case 3. So you'll observe that uh, first method executed in the class. This is before class. This is before method. Then test case 3 executed. Then after every method, last test case. But no other test case is executed, right? Test case 1, 2, none of them is executed. Why? Because what I did was I selected a particular test case and did right click run as. Similarly, if you just do test case 4, right click run as TestNG test, you will observe that only test case 4 is executing. No other test case is executing. Whereas if you right click on the class name and run as TestNG test, that time you will observe all the test cases are executing. So this is one of the feature that if you want to run only one test case, not all, just select that test case, right click and run. Okay, so here you can see test run are 4. One is failure, others are none of them is skipped. So here you can see now all the remaining test case also executed. Okay, and if you check the report here, one report is this. Here you can see one test case is failed. That's why this bar is coming as red. And if we go to emailable report, right click, open with HTML editor. Okay, not HTML editor. Open with web browser. So you'll see one of the test cases failed. 3 are passed. This is failed. It is coming as red. Whichever are passed is coming as green, and whatever exception was there in that case test case is printed here. Okay, so yeah, that's how execution happens. Any questions now? Okay, now there is one more scenario, and the scenario is there is one more attribute with the name expected exceptions. What is it? Expected exceptions is sometimes you're writing your test negative scenario, and the scenario is such that if you execute that scenario, you are expecting to get an exception. Any exception, maybe element not found exception or timeout exception or anything. And if you get that exception, that means your test case is passed, otherwise it is failed. Okay, so if that is the case, then you can use something known as expected exception. I'll show you. So here, let's say in test case 4, uh, I'm writing a simple scenario. I'm creating one integer array of, let's say, name is ARR and equal to new int. Let's say the size is 5. Okay, and here you're putting values to it. ARR of 0, let's say the value is 12. Okay, you were assigning some values and by mistake you put 5 as well. So ARR of 5, this will throw an exception. If I execute this test case, right click, run as TestNG test. So you can see test case has failed because here an array index out of bound exception occurred at line number 5. But if you add expected exceptions and here you give the name, okay, you can give the name in curly braces if there are multiple exceptions which can be thrown. Otherwise, you just give the name of the exception. So here we are expected to get an array out of bound exception dot class. So we are going to get the exception of this type. So if I execute this test case now, right click, run as TestNG test, you will observe the same test case is passed because this test case was expected to throw an exception, but it has not, it has thrown that exception. That is why it has passed. If you change your scenario to such that it does not throw an exception, you will see that your test case is failed. So it will wait for some time. And here you can see this exception here is should have thrown an exception of class this. So you are deliberately expecting this exception to occur, and as it has not occurred, your test cases fail. Okay, so that is one more attribute we have in TestNG. Now, any questions? Okay, Anshu, you have a question. Why dot class in front of exception name? Not in front, it's dot class. Dot class means this is just not a normal name. It is name of a class file. So you're giving the name of the class file. I mean, just mentioning that it is what we are expecting here is a class, not something else. Because this array index out of bound exception can be anything. Dot class means that you're expecting um an error of this class or instance of this class maybe. Clear? Yeah, so these are different annotations and attributes available. Rest whatever is left that will learn with time. But any questions till now? Okay, so if you don't have any questions, let's have a break and then we'll discuss about what is testng.xml file and other things. Okay, so we can continue now. So the next topic which we are going to cover is this testng.xml file. Okay, so currently you can see that all the test cases which I was executing, I'm executing right click and run as testng class. Okay, so now you can also create XML file of it. So how you can do that, just right click on it and then there will be an option of testng here, and then there is an option create testng class, convert to testng. So just here you will get this file, this XML file. Okay, either just copy it or just give it a name, any name you can say. Say for example, uh, here I'll give one more folder in it. Maybe I'll create one. This is name of my project. In that you can see that there are multiple, uh, all these things are visible. So if I can create a, I guess we cannot create directly. So here you can see one testng.xml file is created. Just open it. Okay. Okay, I'll show it again. What I was trying to say, let me create one package in it, or folder in it. Okay, I'll just delete it. Okay, what you have to do is, whatever class you have created, testng class you have created, right click, go to testng, convert to testng, and here uh, I'll just uh, take this folder, click OK. Okay, and inside this you can give any name as well. So the name I'm giving, let's say class execution .xml. This is the name of the file. And test suite, you can give any name. Let's say QA hub, and test, let's say class execution. Okay, so here you can see when I change the suite name here, suite name is changing. When you are changing the test name here, the test name is changing. Okay, so when I click on finish, you will see that an XML file is created. And in this XML file, if you look at here, we have a suite is the top hierarchy. Then we have, inside that we have test, and inside that we have classes. Okay, so you can add, I mean, it's not that you can create only by right clicking and choosing that option. Here also you can simply add whatever you want. Say for example, I want to add another class, so I can simply say this and give the complete name. Say for example, it is day 15 dot the name of the package dot and the name of the class. So say for example, there is one more class 2 is there. Okay, so this is how you can add a class in it. Okay, and yeah, so currently I'll just remove it, and we'll execute this single one. So how to do that? Right click, run as, instead of testng test, now we will say testng suite. So this will execute as a test suite. Okay, so there was one test case which will take 10-15 seconds. So here you can see that test case has failed. But if you'll check the report now, here you can see the name of the test suite has changed from default to QA Hub. Name of the test has changed from default to class execution. Then name of the class file, including the packages, and then the test cases. Here you can see this test case has failed. So when you double click on it, you will reach there, and its corresponding exception is visible here. Like what was the exception which occurred. Okay, so same report you will get in a test output folder as well, an emailable report. If you open with that web browser, so the same report is coming here. The name is changed from default to QA Tech Hub, class execution, and rest everything is same. Okay, so what benefit it gives us is that you don't have to touch your class if you want to do anything. Let's say there are 10 classes, 10 TestNG classes are there, and you want to execute all of them. So no need of going and executing them one by one. Just include all those classes in the sequential order and then run it as test suite. Okay, another example I'll give. I'll just remove these classes and add packages here, and inside packages I'll simply add a package name. So here let's say I'm saying day 15 dot testng. Okay, so this is the name of the package, right? Okay, one thing let me do. Let's keep it classes only. Okay, I'll create another class file. Copy it, paste it, change the name. Let's say I'm changing it to package execution. Okay, and package execution will remove all the classes, will include packages, and packages I'll say a package name of the package will be day 15 dot testng. Just remember the case sensitivity is also you have to consider if the name of the package is everything in I mean whatever case you are following while creating the same case you have to add here. Okay, so if I do now right click run as testng suite, so whatever classes are there in that package, all the classes will be executed. Okay, so this is about package execution, how you can execute uh, all the test cases of all the classes in a package. Clear? Any questions, any doubt, any queries till now? So those before test and before suit, or after test and after suit annotations which we were discussing are actually these. So if you want to execute something even before executing this suit, you have to put that in before suit. Okay. Then if you want to execute anything before this test, then you will put before test. A suit can have multiple tests. I'll just copy it again. There will be multiple tests in a single suit. Okay. So remember these things that you can have one suit, multiple tests in it, and a test can have multiple packages in it, multiple test classes in it, and so on. Okay. So something if you want to execute before suit, that you will put in before suit annotation, and something after that will put in after suit. Similarly, before test and after test is there. Only thing is left is that before group and after group. So in some time we'll discuss about groups, and that time I'll be able to explain it. Okay. So any questions till now? Okay. So let's discuss about grouping of test cases. So I'll just copy it, paste it here. So here, any test case you take, and let me just reduce and or remove it. Okay. So any test case you take, let's say this one. Here you can assign a group to it. So you just have to say groups equal to the name of the group. Let's say I'm saying Sanity. Okay, what does this mean? This means that I'm assigning a group to this test case. You can assign multiple groups as well by putting everything in curly braces and then passing the value by comma separated. Let's say you want to put this. So this particular test case 2, is part of two groups. One is sanity and second is regression. So this will be a part of sanity test case. This will be a part of regression suit as well. Whichever group you will call, it will execute. Okay, I'll assign one more test case as that. Say for example this one. I'll say groups equal to sanity. Okay, so now how to execute only sanity test cases. That's what we are going to learn. So I'll just copy this XML file, paste it again, and here I'll say sanity execution. Okay, we'll open it. Now in this I'll add include. Okay, let the package be there. Now inside this test, you have to add something known as sorry. Either it will be in packages. Let me see. Okay, it is like this. Groups. Inside group, you have to add run, and inside run there can be include or there can be exclude. Okay, what is the difference? If you have include, that particular that particular group will be included. If you have exclude, that will be excluded. So if you're putting in include, if you're putting sanity and execute the test cases, right click, run as TestNG suite, you will see only two test cases are executed. That is test case 1 and 2, because both were part of sanity. And you will observe one more thing, that before class, after class, before test method, after test method are also not executed. Okay, so they will be executed only if they are part of the group. That means if you want to execute in this class, if you want to execute these test cases, that is this sanity or yeah, these sanity scenarios, then uh, here in the before method and after method, also you need to add this groups equal to, let's say, sanity. So I have added this groups. Let's execute it. So I just added in before method. Here you will observe the before method is executed because that was a part of sanity. Or what you can do is, if you want that this before method should be executed no matter whether it's a sanity scenario or not, then you can simply add one attribute known as always run equal to true. Okay, so if you put this always run equal to true, no matter whether they are part of sanity or not, they will always be executed. So right click, run as TestNG suite. You will observe they are executed always. Okay, clear? Any questions here? So very simple. What steps you have to follow? Go to your test case. Whatever test case you want to make a part of sanity, just add a attribute called groups equal to sanity. It will become a sanity test case. Okay, then in your XML file, just add that group and include that. Okay, so your sanity will only sanity scenarios will execute. And here I can say right click, run as TestNG suite. Only sanity scenarios are executing. If the same thing you'll do with exclude, let's say exclude sanity. If I do this, right click, run as TestNG suite, you will see only sanity scenarios are not executing, rest everything is executing. Okay, so it will again take some time. Yeah, so here you can see from both the classes, like class 1 and class 2, from both the classes, all the test cases which are not sanity are executed. Okay, so any questions now? Any questions, any doubt? So this is grouping of test cases, grouping of multiple test cases together. Okay, so now before proceeding, I just have this question with you. Guys, do you want to proceed here, or is this enough for today? I'll just need two more classes to complete two more classes to complete TestNG. So probably tomorrow TestNG will be completed. If you have any thing, any specific, I mean, if you want to continue now for another half an hour, I can go. Okay, Jishan is saying please proceed. Fine. So we can continue. Next thing is I'll start integrating Selenium in it. Okay. So let's start with a simple scenario, that is guru99.com, and we'll integrate that. And then proper integration will be in frameworks. Currently, I'll show you how you can simply execute any one example. So I'll create a class and I'll call it Guru99 project. Okay. So till now we were, for all the methods, we were creating multiple methods, and then we were creating one main method, and everything we were executing from the main method, right? Now here you can create different methods for different scenarios. Like first thing is first step is always invoking a browser, so I can put that in before class. I'll say before class, and the name of the method I'll put as invoke browser. Okay, then I also need after class, that is close browser. So I'll say public void close browser. Okay, now here I can say WebDriver. Okay, and we can initialize it here. First, let's set the system property. So for that, I'll just copy it from some already existing class. Okay, so here I'll change it to demo.guru99.com/v4. Okay, so this test, what it will do, it will just invoke the browser for us, and it will be the first test case which will be, it will be the first method which will be executed in this particular class. Okay, then next is close browser. So in close browser, I'll simply say driver dot quit. Okay, and in between we'll create, or not in between, after this also I'll create test cases. So first test which I'll create will be public void, let's say verify title of the homepage. Okay, verify title of the homepage. Now how will you verify? See, till now we were just putting we were getting the title of the page and was printing them, right? Now here in this particular scenario, what I'm going to do is I'll also verify the title, that whatever title you're getting is actually correct or not. Okay, so for that I can create one string variable. Let's say I call it expected title. Okay, I'll just open the, and title is Guru 99 bank homepage. So I'll just put this Guru 99 bank homepage. Okay, so this is your expected one, and actual one, actual can be driver dot, what will be the actual one? Method is get title, right? So this is actual one. Now we need to compare both of them, right? If both of them will be same, that means your test case will be pass, otherwise your test case will fail. So for comparison, uh, TestNG provides us some assertions. What are assertions? Assertions are to compare the expected with the actual one. Okay, that can be anything, to string variables, to integer variables, to boolean variables, or you're checking null, whether a particular value is null or not, something which you know, and something which you're getting. If you're comparing both of them, if they are same, that means the test cases pass, else the test cases fail. So there are many classes available. One of them is assert. You have to take one from org.test dot. In this there are many methods. One of them is assert dot assert equals. First you have to give the actual. So actual is actual title, and expected is expected title. Okay, so if both of them will be same, this test case will pass. If both of them will be different, this test case will fail. I'll show you. So I'll execute it now. Right click, run as TestNG test. Sorry. So here you can see one test case was executed and it does pass. Why does pass? Because both of them were matching. Okay, so if you deliberately change it, say for example here, I'll change it to any other value. Let's say I put a 1, and when I execute this test case again, so here this time test case has failed. Why it has failed? If we see the reason, you will see here expected was this because we put an extra one, and found to be this, which is actually coming. So This ensures that your test cases pass or fail. So we are giving a verdict as well. Till now we were just printing the things, but now we have given the verdict whether a test case is pass or fail. Okay. So this is one assertion. Now here I'll also put the priority to this test case. Let's say the priority is 0 here. Okay, so as the priority is 0, this will be the first test case to execute. Now I'll create another test case at test. Let's say we're creating the login part now. Okay, and priority I'll give as, let's say, 100. Okay, so public void, let's say, login to Guru 99. So string user ID equal to some value. So that value I'll take where is the sticky notes? Just give me a second. Okay, so these are the values. I'll copy it. Okay, and here we'll simply say driver dot find element pi dot that has a name. So the value of name is UID, and what you want to do is send keys, and value will be user ID, right? Copy it, paste it. So here it was password. Actually, I remember, that's why I'm not checking. If you want, you can check yourself. We have done it many a times. And here it is, btn login. And what you want to achieve here is click. Okay, so uh, where I was, yeah. So I'll just log in with these credentials. Okay, and click on login. Okay, so I guess this password has expired. Let me regenerate the new one. Okay, so same thing I'll use. Okay, so once I log in, you will see. Okay, tell me what make sure that you have successfully logged in. What on this page ensures that you have logged in successfully? There can be many things, like one can be this Guru 99 Bank Manager homepage. Earlier it was only Guru 99 Bank homepage, but now it is Guru 99 Bank Manager homepage. That means title is changing, but title um, can be misleading. Here, if you'll observe, there is this manager ID equal to this value. So whatever value we are logging in with, that same value is appearing here. So if can I say that if I fetch this value and if this value is something which contains this value, I'm successfully logged in, right? So just remember this, whenever you are writing any test case, it must have at least one assertion in it. If your test case does not have any assertion, that test case is not a good test case, because that will never fail. This test case will not fail if I'll not put any assert statement, no matter whatever you are doing. Okay, so I'll put an assertion here. I'll say assert dot assert equals. So what you're comparing now, here you can say string expected manager ID equal to. So I'll just check it. Here you can see it's inside some TD, which it's inside a table in a TD which has this. So can I write something like this? Double slash TD, the square bracket contains what? Text. And what is the value of text? This. We got this, right? And from here we'll fetch the complete value. So we'll say not expected we know. So I'll say string uh, actual manager ID equal to driver dot find element by dot xpath. And what is the xpath? This dot get text. Okay, so this gives me the complete statement. This gives me this complete statement. But what do we want? We want this second part, right? Either we want this second part, or we can simply put an assertion stating assert dot uh, just a second. Okay, it's better. We can split it. So here we can say uh, instead of ID, I'll say statement, and we'll calculate ID from it. So I'll say string actual manager ID equal to actual manager statement dot split based on what regex colon regex. Okay, and whatever value you're getting, its first index will trim it off, and whatever value we'll get, that will put in here. Okay, so what we are doing, see, actual manager statement is something which returns me this complete thing, right? I'm splitting it based on this regex, that is colon. This, when you split it based on colon, it will get divided into two part. One will be this manager ID, and second will be this ID. So this will go in at 0th location because this comes first, and this will go at first index. Now whatever you are getting in first index, you're trimming it off. Trimming means removing white spaces from start and end, if any. So here there will be a white space, so we are just removing that white space. Now, once you remove that white space in the first index, you only get this value. So here you can see I just trimmed it and assigning it to this. Now here you can say simply assert dot assert equals, here we'll say actual manager ID will be the actual one. Sorry, uh, yeah, this is the actual one, and expected is user ID, right? This is the user ID and this is the actual manager ID what you are getting, right? So if I execute this test case now, right click, run as TestNG test. So here you can see both the test cases are passed. Why the second one is also passed? Because whatever we expected is coming properly. Okay, so this way you can integrate Selenium with TestNG. Okay, first we have what we have did is initialized, defined my WebDriver instance. Okay, before class which has invoke browser method, after class which has close browser method. Then I'm writing multiple tests. First test was to verify the title of the page. Second test was to test was to log in into Guru 99 application. Okay, like this, whatever scenarios you have written earlier, you can simply write test cases for them, give the priority, and continue. Okay, any questions?
I think it is good enough for today.
Okay, okay, fine.
Yeah, I need to
So,
practice this portion a lot.
okay, so tomorrow what all we'll be covering will be starting with parameters. Like here, if you can see, I have put this user ID and password as hard-coded values. What I'll do, I'll pass this user ID and password in as the arguments. Then how you can pass parameter values to this test case. We'll learn that. Next will be data-driven testing types, where the same method, that is which will have multiple test data, how you can supply multiple test data to it, like 4 or 5 credentials to it. Then next topic will be running multiple tests parallelly, okay, at the same time. And yeah, so these are few of the topics which are left. So tomorrow we'll be able to complete TestNG, and next week we'll start with frameworks. So that's all for today. Now, if you